Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named I don't know what to do in the relationship advice subreddit. My ex-wife left me 20 years ago. She recently asked me out to dinner and invited me to her place. I don't know what to do. I dated Dawn for 3 years. We tied the knot at 20 and were married for 3 years. We had some struggles and we both had a lot of growing up to do. She was working a minimum wage job and trying to finish her education, while I was just finishing up my own career by then. After 3 years, her attitude changed and she became distant. She was sexually and physically abused when she was younger, although I do not know if that matters. Eventually, it came to light that she was having an affair with a man she worked with. She broke my heart, left me, and went to live with him at his parents' house. She started using drugs and has a child by him. I was left devastated and broken, and over the years, I developed trust issues. A few months ago, she added me on Facebook. I got divorced again 2 years ago. We have been chatting and she has apologized for everything she did. She said she would like to take me out to dinner and would understand if I declined or never wanted to see her again, but she would really love to see me. She is now a lawyer, divorced, and has her own children. I did not contact her much at first, but she likes almost everything I post. She has initiated every conversation, telling me she is sorry for the hurt she caused me, that my children are beautiful, and that I look great. I do not feel any ill will toward her anymore, but all of this is a shock to me. I feel as if she wants a new relationship, judging by what she has said to me. She mentioned that we could go back to her place afterwards. She has tried to contact me over the years, but I blocked her. Now I feel all of these emotions, sadness and anger. I also feel like I would like to see her again for closure. I have not seen her in person for 20 years. I have gotten over her, but this just feels so strange. Update. Long story short, I did meet her. We talked for hours and I felt better after getting some answers throughout the night. It was an emotional meeting, mostly on her part. She apologized many times and asked about my children, what I am doing now, and how I've been. She told me she has had counseling to work through her personal issues over the last few years, and it has helped her tremendously. I asked her several hard questions I needed answers to. I actually wrote them down beforehand. She answered them honestly and did not hold anything back. She knows the affair was entirely her fault and that I was devastated for some time after our divorce. I wanted to know why she added me in the first place a few months ago and started speaking to me again. She told me she always wanted to apologize in person and thought it would be inappropriate while we were both married. She also said none of the men in her life ever truly matched up to me, and that she had been hoping ever since our divorces that one day we could try again. I told her I forgive her, but I am not ready for anything right now. I appreciate her taking me out to dinner and I enjoyed it. I did not go back to her place. She told me she wanted another chance but wants to do things differently this time. Although I still find her attractive and have always cared about her, I am not ready for anything at the moment, so I suggested that we just be friends for now. We hugged, she kissed my cheek, and that was it. A tearful goodbye after not having seen each other in 20 years. Some of the comments were people calling me a fool and other things. I do not really understand how. I divorced her when she left to be with the other man and blocked her for all these years, even after her attempts to contact me. So people can say what they want, I guess. Thank you all for the advice. I understand some of you may not agree with my decision, but I enjoyed my dinner and getting some answers I needed about our past. It may or may not evolve into something else, but I am not ready for anything right now. Beach Pellini said, I do not think it sounds like he was her last choice. It seems more like she did the dumb thing, realized how good she had it, and then spent the next 2 decades trying to get it back. Not that he should agree. It is good that she is finally getting help, but he really does not need to be a part of that process if he does not want to be. To this user bit funny comment said, I fully agree. I did not read that as a last choice. choice. She had something good, took it for granted, destroyed it, and tried to move on. And in 20 years, she has never found anything as good and now appreciates just how much she ruined. But OP does not owe her a damn thing, and in his shoes, I do not think I would give her a second chance either. Miss Janet Snakehole said, "Thank fuck this one ended after he got closure and walked away." To this user signal, Echo Foxtrot said, "I'm not convinced he walked away." Then to this comment, user Opossum Lawyer said, "One thing you start to realize in your 40s is how short life is and how much you have changed as a person over time. It might be worth his time to give her a second chance. Only he can really decide, and that decision is one the internet is terrible at advising people about." This next post was made by a user named Standard Display. The post is titled, "I refuse to eat at a restaurant that messed up my order once." Okay, the title sounds ridiculous, I know, but hear me out. I am gluten-free, not by choice but out of medical necessity. I became allergic about 5 years ago, so it is not new, and I have gotten pretty good at eating out without being completely obnoxious. I also know my limits with ingesting gluten. When I went out with friends last month, I ordered a cheeseburger with no bun and substituted the side of fries with steamed vegetables to avoid leftover gluten in the fryer. When the plate came, it had fries and a bun. I asked the waitress if my plate could be remade because I was allergic to gluten. She gave me attitude, told me potatoes do not have gluten so I can eat fries, and to take the bun off because the kitchen was slammed. I told her I could wait and did not need to be prioritized, but to please just have my food remade. When it finally came, it was in a takeout box with all the checks. I was not about to make a fuss, and I was just planning on going home afterward, so I figured I would eat the takeout at home and say, oh well. But on my check, I was charged for 2 meals, with an upcharge for substitutions on both. I went to the bartender and got 1 meal taken off my bill and tipped her nicely in cash, but I decided to never eat there again. So last night I had family over and they wanted to order in, specifically from the same place that got my order wrong last month. I told them that was fine, but I would order from somewhere nearby and just go pick up both orders. I thought this was reasonable, but my family looked at me like I had just suggested a Lion Go vegan. They told me they thought I was out of my childish phase and that not eating gluten would not help me lose the extra weight I had put on. It was such a massive overreaction to me, and I do not know why they felt the need to comment on my weight. So I explained the situation, that I had a bad experience there with a simple ask, and they doubled down that it was immature to never eat there again and to inconvenience everyone else just because I do not want some carbs. I dropped it because I was so shocked and just ordered from the restaurant next door. It turns out they have the same generic brown takeout boxes, so when I got back and we ate, everyone was telling me, "See, do not you feel silly now? Everything is fine," and that I needed to stop being a Karen. It is the next day, and I just feel like it was so weird. I wanted to share what is kind of a funny and lighthearted story, but I am also slightly wondering if I'm overreacting by not going there again. Update. What I thought would be a pretty lighthearted "am I overreacting" question turned into quite a family saga and a trip to the emergency room very quickly, so I wanted to update my silly restaurant boycott story. But before I get into the saga, here is a happy update. One of my friends knew I had a throwaway Reddit account, saw this post, and called the health department herself to report the restaurant. She then left a long, seething review and even went back to speak to the manager about our specific waitress. She was there with me and had already complained about the restaurant, but after knowing all this, she really went nuclear. I absolutely love her for it. Now for the drama. I wrote the original post the morning after the dinner happened. The dinner itself was decent, but I was very quiet, and after reading all the supportive comments calling out my family's behavior, I really started to think. When my sister called me later in the day to ask why I was so quiet at dinner, I had already been reflecting on it, and I kind of snapped. I told her that I was quiet because I was so hurt by the things people said and the fact that nobody defended me, as usual. Meanwhile, my friend actually fought for me, even when she did not have to. My sister and I then fought about what was said, whether I was being too sensitive, and even about whether my allergy was as serious as I claim. I told her I did not need this and hung up. My mother texted me later, as did my brother and my sister again. All of them said we should drop it, that we are family, and this is silly. I put them all in a group chat and said, yes, it is silly to fight with me about my own medical diagnosis and what I eat, which has nothing to do with them. I told them I did not need my family treating me like this when I have friends and other family members who do not, and that they can talk to me when they are finished being immature. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and finished my workday. Yes, this all happened during a workday. That night was relaxing. My husband cooked a delicious gluten-free meal while I explained the entire situation, and he was the perfect supporter, pointing out even more toxic behavior from my immediate family that I had been blind to. Then, like something out of a sitcom, there was a knock at the door. My mother and sister came by to make amends and brought dessert from a gluten-free bakery. There are several around us, so I did not question it. I am sure you are yelling at me to question it. I should have. We sat down to talk and I grabbed a cupcake. One bite in, I knew from the texture it was not gluten-free. I spit it out and just looked at them, waiting for them to admit it. My sister looked slightly fearful, while my mother sat there looking smug. All she said was, "Gluten will not kill you, honey. You grabbed that cupcake pretty quickly. That is a bigger concern." I was holding back tears at the betrayal, and I ran to my husband, who had been giving us space. He already had the keys, handed me my shoes, and we left for the emergency room. At the door, he said, "You are never welcome in this house again," before taking me to the hospital. I could feel my throat tightening as I sobbed in the passenger seat. I was seen right away at the hospital, and I am fine now, writing this while I wait to be discharged as a way to process what just happened. I feel as though I opened my eyes and lost my entire family in under 24 hours. But the two who truly understand what matters, my husband and my friends, are enough for me to feel loved and taken care of. Luca Ace said, "I really hope OP sticks to their guns with the police report. Their mother tried to seriously harm them. The fact that there are others in their family who have gluten issues, including celiac disease, highlights that this is personal to OP. It is really rough to find out your family is this dysfunctional though." Dumbass Stupid Baby said, "As someone with dietary restrictions, this happens a lot more often than you think. I am really picky about who I trust with food. So many people think it is funny to make you eat something you do not want to or cannot." This final story was made in the AITA subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "I told my friend to stop with her coping mechanism. I am on a throwaway account because my friend group absolutely knows my main Reddit account, and I do not want them finding this and making the situation worse. I am transgender, but I come from a culture where being transgender is dangerous. For my safety, I immigrated to a much more welcoming country when I was 22. I changed my name and began taking estrogen. I am much happier now, especially because when I meet people for the first time, they assume I am a cisgender female. I have a small group of friends that I made 3 years ago. One of these friends has a rather interesting hobby. She enjoys going on social media apps and basically learning everything she can about a person. I am not really sure why she does this, as it seems very weird to me, but she told me that she does it because of the trauma she experienced from her high school friends who basically manipulated and bullied her into thinking she forgot important information about them. Ever since then, she goes on social media or even listens to gossip about almost everyone she knows just so she never misses a thing. I do not really understand it, but as someone with trauma myself, I understand that we handle things differently than what is normal. I have not told my friends that I am transgender. I understand that it may seem wrong, but I generally do not trust people with that kind of information. It is not that I do not think they will be supportive, I just do not think they need to know. Also, I am a little afraid of our dynamic changing because I love them a lot and cannot stand to lose any more loved ones. I know that if it comes to a point where it is needed, I will tell them, but right now it is not important information. So this friend, Amelia, has been acting really weird around me. It felt like she was bringing up or talking about things that I haven't told anyone about. Not directly, but she will say things like, "I heard about this place called X. The food seems interesting there. I thought I was just going crazy at first because the internet is free and she is allowed to see things from my hometown without it being linked to me. That is until yesterday when she was talking to our friends about baby names as she is pregnant and brought up my dead name. We made eye contact for a bit while my friends gushed about how cute it sounded, but all agreed it does not really fit her ethnicity. She moved on and never brought it up again. I do not feel anything towards that name, nor do I feel like she is not allowed to name her baby after it if she so desires, but it feels like a twisted form of power play. I am not sure how she found it, but I do not think she will use it against me or out me, as she is not that type of person. I feel like maybe she is just trying to hint that she knows. Right now, I just want to call her out on what she is doing and tell her that she needs to stop because it is making me uncomfortable. But again, I am not sure if this is the right move, as it is her coping mechanism for her trauma. Update. I will be honest, the last 3 to 4 months have been incredibly difficult for me, and the supportive words I received really helped. Updates. Amelia gave birth to a healthy baby boy, and no, she did not name him after my dead name. I do not think I would have cared anyway because first, as I said, I do not feel any attachment or trauma with that name, and second, it would be her loss if she named her son that. She is pale as snow and I am Arab. Regardless, I still felt happy for her and celebrated her son since she was still my friend. There is a trend on TikTok and Instagram where one person records another and films their reaction to hearing the sentence, "I am so hungry I could eat X." For those who might not know, the name used tends to be someone with whom the person has a strong past, such as an ex or a deceased friend. My friend group and I went over to my best friend's house for a girls' night to spend time with Amelia, since she had been busy with her son. They participated in the TikTok trend, and because I do not really use social media or post myself, I mostly watched and chatted with other friends who were also not very interested in trends. We were having fun until Amelia pointed the phone at me and said, "Hey OP, I am so hungry I could eat your dad." I was beyond shocked. My dead name has no meaning to me, but my father's name, that felt like a knife twisting inside me. Hearing his name made me panic. I suppose my other friends noticed and told Amelia to stop and delete the video. I basically dissociated during the argument, but from what my friends told me afterward, Amelia claimed it was just a joke and a trend that people do. She then insisted I was in the wrong and ended up outing me to my friends, who luckily did not care and were as accepting as I had hoped. She was then kicked out of the house after a long argument, and my friends told me she was no longer welcome in the group after what she did. I felt awful about this, especially since she had been friends with them longer than I had, and I worried I was ruining things. They assured me I was not and that they accepted me. I apologized for not telling them sooner, and they understood that it was my secret to share. Amelia eventually posted the video and made vague posts about me and the rest of the group. It was taken down after my best friend confronted her and forced her to delete the videos, but the damage was already done and a lot more people found out. On the brighter side, I was never really questioned by those mutual friends of Amelia, so that is good. After that, we never really heard from her or paid her any attention again. I finally started therapy, and it was my therapist who suggested I update you all as some form of closure. So once again, thank you Reddit for all the kind words and messages. I truly hope nothing this bad happens again. No Pants Power Stance said, using trauma and therapy language to sanitize pulling crap pisses me off to no end. Digging deep into someone's past and dangling sensitive information over their heads is not a coping mechanism. Calling it a coping mechanism and linking it to trauma does not legitimize bad behavior. My coping mechanism was drinking copious amounts of alcohol, but I still had to quit because my behavior hurt those around me and myself. I think it is great that people are trying to be more aware of and sensitive to mental health issues, but that does not mean everyone has a blank check regarding their actions just because they are vaguely linked to something painful. Having trauma, if she actually did, does not excuse bullying power plays. I am sorry you were hurt, but throwing some therapy language on your actions does not mean they are okay. To this help, Key just said, a lot of people also use trauma to mean felt a negative emotion, similar to how people now seem to think triggered means somewhat upset. Awareness, unfortunately, can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, more people know about it and are willing to talk about it. On the other hand, more people misinterpret things, willfully or otherwise, and twist them to suit their own agendas. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, GamerSupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.